Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today for Cuppa SEO's webinar, Get to Know Cuppa, sorry, Get to Know SEO. Most of you already know Cuppa SEO. My name is Joey, and of course, I'm the owner of Cuppa SEO. And what we do here is search engine optimization for websites and blogs, and we also build a lot of websites for clients with SEO brewed right into every nook and cranny. So today, what we're going to be talking about is the different components of search engine optimization. And let's start off with a brief overview or brief definition of what is SEO. Okay, so search engine optimization, in a nutshell, is using optimal keywords, keyword phrases, and relevant content in a way that helps you get found on Google, okay? And this slide will make more sense in just a couple of minutes. So what we're doing with those optimal keyword phrases is we've got to figure out what people are using to find what we do, okay? And then we've got to implement those keyword phrases into our website, into our blog, into our social media efforts, so that when someone does a search, and in the case that I just showed you here for SEO Madison, Wisconsin, that we get found, that Google looks at us and says, wow, this is a really relevant, useful search result. I want to put it toward the top of the page. Of course, number one is best, right? To be ranking first on the page is best. That can't always happen. It can't always be guaranteed, but we do want to use those keywords and that relevant content to help us rise as high up as humanly possible, okay, in a virtual world. So let's take a little bit of a deeper look at what that means. So my website is optimized for many keywords. One of the keyword phrases is SEO Madison, Wisconsin. And you guys can see that up here in the natural search box on Google, okay? So what happens is when somebody searches for that, pretty much anywhere in the world, even in different states and such, this is a very specific keyword phrase, you're going to find that my results are very good. So we've got Cuppa SEO showing up here right below the map. And this is actually my Google My Business page. All right. And if you haven't taken our complimentary Google My Business webinar and you're a local business, I strongly suggest that you sign up for that. Okay. It's packed with tips and really good strategies how to get your Google My Business page to show up preferably in this top 3 here. Okay. And as you guys can see, my competitors have been blacked out to protect their identity. So again, this is the Google My Business section here. And then down here, Cuppa SEO shows up first in what's called the natural search results. Okay, there's no AdWords going on here. This is naturally occurring. I did not pay for this ranking. What I did was I put in the work to optimize the website really well for this keyword phrase, as well as some others that help people find me. Okay. So that's what a natural search page looks like. And here is a very high-tech graph, or a pie, of the 3 major components of SEO. Okay, and as you can see, there's keywords, content, and social media. And at one point in time, keywords were a bigger piece of this pie. All right, and as Google's algorithm has evolved and become more complex, and also how just online marketing has changed, keywords in and of themselves are now only about 1/3 of the SEO pie. Okay. Another third is your actual content, what's on the page, what's in your blog post, what's on your subpage, your homepage, in your social media, right? Actually, your social media is the third part, your third slice of the pie. I also want to let you guys know something really quick. I like to keep these webinars as interactive as possible. So what you'll notice is in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, there's a little talk bubble. Okay, it should be in a gray box. And if you click on that, you will get on the right side of your screen a chat area. Okay, feel free to ask questions, comments, anything you need to communicate to myself or to anybody who's signed up for the webinar today. Go ahead and type it up there, and I will address it as soon as I can. So again, click on that. The crow outside likes it. My goodness. So click on that little talk bubble in the upper left-hand corner, right over there. And then over here, you're going to get that screen open. Just type in the bottom of that right-hand sidebar, and I will see your message and address it. So just like to make sure you know that so we can converse a little bit more easily. All right. So again, we're looking at 3 pieces of the pie: keywords, content, and social media, right? Let's dive a little bit deeper into each of these, just so you guys can get a flavor for how it works. And on that note, I want to make sure you guys don't get frustrated today. We're going to look at a lot of information in this next hour, and I don't expect you to walk away and be able to make all these changes today or even this week and next. This is long-term. Some of this, if you're not an SEO expert, okay? What's important about today, what to take away from today's webinar is an understanding of what needs to be done. So whether you do it yourself or you have Cuppa SEO do it or some other agency, you know what to expect from optimizing your website, okay? So keywords. Keywords and the keyword report. This is where we're going to start. Keywords are kind of the baseline for everything, okay? We need to determine exactly what keyword phrases are most optimal to use for our particular business. And to figure this out, there are a lot of factors that go into it, including the size of your website, the age of your website, how many people are searching for a particular keyword phrase each month, and how many people are competing for that keyword phrase each month. And I typically like to refer to this as the search to competition ratio. How many people are searching versus how much competition you have. Obviously, low competition is best, right? And I like to kind of compare this to playing tennis in a way. And let's say I'm an amateur tennis player, right? And I play in the local tournaments, and I do great. I'm phenomenal. I win mostly everything. All right. And then tomorrow, I have to play Rafael Nadal. I'm lucky if I can score even 1 point against Nadal. Okay. So, but this is part of how SEO works. We want to put ourselves in a place where we can crush the competition in the nicest way possible. But we want to put ourselves in a place where we can crush them. And that determines what keyword phrases we want to use. You know, if we're up against high competition for a keyword phrase and we're an 8-page website that's 6 months old, we're going to have a lot of trouble competing. That's going to be like our Nadal, okay? Whereas if we find a keyword phrase that possibly gets less searches each month, but also gets less competition, now I can start to make inroads with that keyword phrase and rank up high, like I showed you how Cuppa SEO does for that keyword phrase, SEO Madison WI. So the keyword report kind of is a mishmash of different contingencies and benchmarks that we have to look at. All right. Let's take a quick look at how Cuppa SEO does it to give you guys an idea if you want to do this yourself. This is a sample keyword report. Okay, the keywords were all changed to protect this particular client's keyword phraseologies that we found. But what you guys can see here is how we break down the keyword report. First of all, we break it down into a good, better, best format. Why do we do that? Because this becomes your playbook. This becomes your Bible, so to speak, okay? And those of you in the audience today from Green Bay, you know, think about Aaron Rodgers, right? He doesn't go out onto the playing field and say, okay, tight end, you go long, tight end, and you center, you block, and you running back, you go ahead and you pretend to take the ball from me, right? That would be ridiculous, right? There's a plan. There's a playbook that everybody knows, that everybody works with, that your entire team, anybody who's involved with content creation can work from. That's why this is in a good, better, best format. So when you want to optimize a web page, a blog post, social media post, it doesn't matter. You can come here, and in your best keyword area, which is right up here, you will know the very best keyword phrases to use by region. This is for Minnesota, the first column. This is for Iowa, the second column. Okay, so keyword phrase by region, and then this last column here is your competition. How much competition do I have? And can I stack up against them? So you guys will see here what this means is, for sample keyword 1, the 320 under Minnesota, or maybe it's Minneapolis, I can't remember. That's monthly searches, average monthly searches that people would take for whatever this keyword was. You can see the difference, though, by region. In Iowa, only 10 people searched for it. Okay. The competition for this phrase was low, which is excellent. And then in Iowa, there was no competition at all. So that's some of the reasons why that phrase was up there, okay? Just giving you an idea how to create a hierarchy of good, better, best. If this is something that's confusing to you or you need help with, you can always go to the Cuppa SEO blog. There's quite a few articles about keywords and getting help with keywords that'll help kind of back up what we're talking about today, maybe give you a little bit more information. Of course, Cuppa SEO does keyword reports too, so if you do need help, just let us know. There's never any obligation. We can just have a conversation and see if it's going to be a good fit for you. But that keyword report, again, that becomes your baseline, right? For everything you do today, tomorrow, next week, next year. So you don't have to think about it. And as you do this over and over, as you optimize page after page with these really good keyword phrases and blog post after blog post, Google takes a step back and says, wow, this guy really knows about SEO. And I see that he's regionalized to the Dane County area. And I see that his Google My Business page is optimized, and it's telling me the same thing that his website is telling me, that they do SEO in Madison and Dane County. So all of a sudden, what happens to your website? There's something called website authority, all right? Think of it like a raft. Raft comes out of a box. You put it in the water, but you haven't pumped it up. It's going to sink, right? It's kind of the same with your website. It comes out of the box. It's brand new. It's live yesterday. It's going to have little or no SEO authority or authority of any kind. So we start to pump it up, right, with optimized content on every page, optimized content on every blog post. And it's literally like pumping the air into a raft. And eventually that raft becomes an optimal pressure per square inch, the PSI, right? Now, you put it in the water, it stays at the top. You put 6 people in it, it still sits at the top, all right? So that's kind of the way that this SEO works. It's the same thing, but it's a gradual process. Again, if you guys have questions, feel free to click on the little talk bubble in the upper left-hand corner. That'll open up your chat on the right-hand side, and go ahead anytime, ask a question, make a comment. Totally open to hearing what you guys have to say and ask. So, okay. Hypothetically, we've got our keyword report and we're ready to start implementing. We've already talked a bit about content, right? What is content? Let's look at that a little bit, because to many of you, this is going to make total sense, but to some of you, you may be wondering, what the heck am I talking about? So content. Oh, actually, I have one more tip for you guys. If you don't want to take the time to create a keyword report right now, and you don't, for whatever reason, want to have somebody create a keyword report for you, the next best thing is to create what I call the common sense keyword report. Okay? And that's exactly what it sounds like. Sit down with your team, talk to your colleagues, your customers, and make a list of at least 5 to 10 keywords that you believe people are using to find you. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not. Is it going to be the very best keywords out there? Probably not. But you know, something is better than nothing. And to at least be implementing keywords that have to do with your business, it's a lot better than not addressing it at all. Okay? You can always go back to that. You can always implement the very best keywords down the road. My point here is that you want to do something. Okay? And you've got to do it within your means, your financial means, your time constraints, and so on. So now, as promised, let's talk a little bit more about content. Content is something that we are going to want to be rich, relevant, meaningful. Okay? And let's take a little bit of a look at what I'm talking about there. This is a Cuppa SEO subpage for search engine optimization help for my clients. So what we're looking at here is putting content or copy on the page that is going to be meaningful to the reader. We don't want it to be a big old sales pitch. We don't want it to be what's called thin content, which really is mostly fluff and no meaning, right? We want it to answer questions. We want it to solve problems. Sometimes page copy or a blog post can solve a problem or identify a problem that your client didn't even know they had. Okay? That's what's got to go into these pages. And we refer to that as rich, relevant, helpful content. So I don't expect you guys to read this whole page, but what you'll see is here, you know, under search engine optimization, you're going to see that there's a quick definition, just like we kind of did today, right? There's a quick definition. And then it starts talking about how we can help with that optimization process. Because when you think about it, why is somebody here? Why is somebody on this page to get help with their SEO? It's not because they're ranking on page 1 for all their keywords and they have too much business that they can't handle it. It's because they're probably not getting found, right? So my copy has to talk to that. Answering the question, what is SEO? Answering the question, how we can help you. Because that's the main goal, to help you get found. That is the #1 goal, okay? And then once we get you found, how are we presenting you to that viewer? So they're going to want to take a next step, all right? So again, that content's got to be rich and relevant. I'm often asked the question, well, how long? How long should my content be? And the answer to that is, as you might have guessed, it depends, okay? It really depends on your writing style, especially for blog posts when you're blogging on a weekly basis, hopefully. What's your writing style, but also what's the expectation from your customer? I have a dad blog, and when I write a dad blog, it's 500 words or less. Okay, because this is a parent that I'm talking to who's struggling with time management, most likely, like all parents, like all business owners, right? And I don't want to go into a deep dive of 1,500 words there. On the contrast to that, I have other clients where their web pages or their blog posts are 1,500 words long, because that's what it needs to be in order to communicate what we need to that client. And in a minute, we're going to talk about how do you do that? How do you say 1,500 words and make it bearable and even more so pleasant for the reader when they arrive there? And we're going to look at that now once we talk a little bit more about content. So once we have rich, relevant content on the page, that's a big win. That's going to help with engagement with our clients. That's going to help with educating and building trust. All right, whether it's a web page or especially a blog post, we want to build trust. you guys will see here the hierarchy of this page. We've got a headline up at the top, a little bit of copy. I've got a call to action right up here too. This button is typically referred to as a call to action. It's a conversion strategy. In other words, helping someone make the next step to becoming a customer, to buying a product. You get the idea. But below that, we've got a headline that starts to segment out the page. You guys see here, this is probably 150 words, but we've got it broken up in a way that it's easy to digest. And let's say this was 1,500 words long. Just as here, where this says search engine optimization, SEO, we would have headlines throughout that page or blog post highlighting each region. What is this about? What is that about? What is this about? So let's say I'm a dental office and I'm on a page about root canal, right? I might talk about what to expect at your root canal. That's one section. How root canals are pain-free. That's a section. Second section. I might talk about the healthcare. Is it going to get paid? Is my provider going to pay for this? You know, and who are my providers? Who do we handle as a dentist office, as providers? So there's 3 sections, and this could go on. If you have a fear of a root canal, there could be a section about that. Now, all that together could easily become 1,000 to 1,500 words. But we segment the page, just like this page is segmented, to make it easy to digest, okay? We talk more about this. We also have a complimentary webinar called A Holistic Guide to Online Marketing. Again, that's called A Holistic Guide to Online Marketing. And it's just under the webinars tab at CuppaSEO.com. We do them quarterly. Feel free to sign up. You'll learn more about conversion, things like that, and user experience. And we talk through more about the hierarchy of a page and dissecting a page to make it really effective and useful to people. So I'm going to take a moment before we talk about social media and just check in. Does anybody have questions about keywords, keyword report, or content in general? If you've got a question, go ahead and click on that talk bubble in the upper left and go ahead and ask away. Right now we have no questions, which always amazes me because when I do these workshops live, we've got hands going up the entire time. So please don't be shy. If you've got a question, there are no dumb questions. There are no stupid questions. If it helps you, it's probably going to help somebody else. All right. So anyway, let's move on. Next up is social media. And as we talked about earlier, social media is that third component of SEO. So what does that mean exactly? Why does it carry so much weight? What we're going to do next is we're going to look at the 2 sides of social media. Okay. And then we're going to look at how to optimize an actual social media post, as well as some of the different social media platform pages. All right. So let's get back to our slideshow to do that. Social media is broken down into 2 main categories. And again, we've got a very high-tech drawing here. On the left, you guys see LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, right? Those are your opportunities to have a discussion or to begin a relationship with another person, okay? Even though it's on an online platform, this is human-to-human interaction, all right? The right side of this little chart is Google Plus and Google My Business. And that is where your SEO authority comes into play, right through Google Plus and Google My Business. And the reason for that is pretty much because Google said so. Google, we talk about Google all the time because they are the king of search engines. Of course, there's Bing, There's DuckDuckGo, and there are some other smaller search engines that you can use. And the principles behind the search engine optimization process on any of those is going to be similar to Google. All right. So what we're talking about here today has value on any search engine that anyone would use. But since Google is king, that's who we refer to. All right. Because that's where we want to rank well. If we rank well on Bing, great. But if that's only 20% of where our customers, they're on Bing, and 80% are on Google, I'd rather rank well on Google. All right. So what Google has done with their algorithm, which is called Google Panda, in case you care, what they've done is they've made it so that if you post through your Google My Business page, which is essentially posting through the Google Plus page associated with Google My Business, they're one and the same. Okay. They're married together. When you post on those platforms, you are going to find that your SEO value lives there. So I post on Facebook, I post on Twitter, and it's like, okay, hey, let's just take Judy, who's one of our participants. Hey, Judy, here's what's going on in the world of SEO. Check it out. Judy and I just had a little mini conversation through social media. Now I post that, and Harry, who's another one of our participants today, Harry says he sees it on Google Plus, right? That I posted it on there. Maybe he's following me, I'm following him. Somehow we're connected there. But what's happening is it's still a human connection. But I just published on a social media platform that accounts for about 80% of the SEO value on social media, which is mind-boggling. You take Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and so on, and you've got all of those here, and you've got Google Plus, Google My Business here, and this is dominant. So what happens is when you publish a post, just like you would on Facebook, but through Google My Business, it gives your Google My Business page more SEO value, and it also tangentially gives your website more SEO value. So it helps them both do that rising, right? Pumping up the raft. Helps them both rise to the top. And you guys remember one of the first slides you saw was Cuppa SEO ranking first for Google My Business and also ranking first for the natural search results. So that's how that works, okay? We've got no questions, so let's move on from that and start to dissect your website and your blog. Okay. We will get back to social media and dissect that as well. But where do I implement the phrases that I found in my keyword report? The keyword report's done. Let's say in a perfect world, it's done. It's beautiful. You've got one lying around from Cuppa SEO, or we do one for you, or you take the time and do one yourself. The first thing we need to look at is where to implement these keywords and keyword phrases. Okay? So there's 6 major regions, as you can see laid out here, where we're going to want to place those keyword phrases. And we're going to want to do it in a way that's as natural as possible. Okay? We don't want to sound like robots, right? We want to sound like we're talking to somebody, because even though we're talking to a robot or an algorithm in Google, we are also talking to actual people. So the first place that we want to use our keywords that we've gleaned in our keyword report is up here in what's called a title tag. Okay? The title tag is 70 characters or less. You do not want to go over 70 characters, if at all possible. 70 characters or less, including spaces and sticks. So you guys can see here between SEO and search engine optimization, there's what we call a stick, which is a separator. Okay? That's a good separator to use to separate different phrases. All right? So that's one of the first places Google looks when someone searches for SEO Madison WI. Google looks at the title tags of, in this case, local companies that do web design and SEO. And they identify, oh, okay, This guy's serious. He knows how to optimize a website. His title tag is optimized. Next up is your main headline or your primary headline on the page. That's number 2. Mine is very straightforward here. It just says search engine optimization. Okay. And that's what's called your H1. H as in Harry, 1. Okay. A side note on H1s is you only want to have one of them per page. Okay. It's going to be the same if you have an H2, which is a subheadline, but in the code in WordPress or pretty much any theme, an H2 is going to be a little bit smaller than an H1. Okay. So think of it like if you're looking at a catalog, your H1 is this big thing at the top of the page, right? Levi's no wash denim, right? And then the subhead is a little bit more information about that. Our denim never needs to be washed because of a special process, right? That's the subhead or the H2. Same deal with the H2. You never want to have more than one on a page. And you don't always need one. But if you do, kind of like a payoff to your headline, not a problem, go ahead and use one. You guys will see here, number 3, what's in a keyword report. That is what's called an H3, okay? So that's a type of subheadline. And as you might guess, it's smaller than an H1 or an H2. The nice thing about H3s is that you can use more than one on a page, okay? And you can see just from this screenshot, we've got one H3 here, what's in a keyword report. We've got another one here, optimizing your website content, okay? And this can go on. You can use just 2 like I have, but if your page was double the length, you might have 4 or 5. H3s are totally okay to use more than once on a page. Google's expecting it. And what happens is when you use an H3 for one of these subheadlines, it carries a little bit more weight than the copy on the page. So it identifies to Google, hey, this is a little bit more important than the copy below it. And you know what? It's really useful to the human eye too, because someone gets here, maybe they already talked to me about what's in a keyword report, and they just came to my site to kind of look around a little more before they sign on. They might want to learn just about optimizing their website content, right? They go right to that section. They don't have to read what's above it. So again, that's your H3. 4th, right here you guys see this minimalist graphic, is going to be your image. This is some of the lowest hanging fruit you will find. I would say probably 98 to 99% of every website out there, even ones that are quote unquote optimized, do not have optimized images. It's low hanging fruit. It's not hard to do. It's kind of simple. To us, it's like the butter to our bread, right? We do it every single time, whether it's a blog post, a website page, or social media. We name the image. Now imagine the relevance of this if you're a landscaper, okay? And you've got 500 images on your website in different galleries. Maybe you've got galleries, 3 pages of galleries for different facets of your business, right? That's 500 opportunities to optimize something on your website. And as we'll see in a moment, that's 500 times 2. Because in addition to naming the image name, we can also name what's called the alternate image name. So the reason why I bring this up is because it's, again, not hard to do, and nobody does it. Nobody does it for some strange reason. Now what happens is when you do it, it helps the overall authority of your website. Okay, and it also, guys, when you go to Google, do a search, kind of at the top of the navigation, there's all, and then there's something else that says images, shop, and so on. If you click on that images tab, those images that are actually optimized show up at the top. If you do it right now, if you Google Cuppa SEO Madison WI, the whole first row is Cuppa SEO. But I don't advise doing it right now because you might lose your connection if you leave. So don't leave. So it's super important, super efficient, super useful. We do have a question here from Megan. So let's just take a pause on imagery and answer that. Google just released Penguin algorithm last month. How is that affecting SEO? Have you seen anything with that? And how do we prepare for changes like this? Right, that's a great question. And it's kind of an easy, short answer, at least for now. Google Penguin actually got rolled into the main algorithm that Google uses, Google Panda. Okay, it became part of it. Used to be kind of its own separate thing. Now it's organically implemented in, and it's live, and it's always on. Used to be that Google Penguin would kind of turn on and off over time. Google would check stuff, and then kind of there'd be this time frame where nothing happened. Everything we're talking about today still works. You do not have to worry about it with the Google Penguin algorithm update. What that algorithm focuses on, Google Penguin, is about backlinks and linking to and from other websites. And what that algorithm is looking for is junk. It's looking for people who are hired somebody to get them 1,000 backlinks all coming to their website, and all those 1,000 links that they're coming from spammy sites. That's what Google Penguin is. It's looking for people who are offensive or offending or breaking the rules. Okay, Google wants you to have authentic backlinks. Okay, if I link to you because you wrote an awesome blog post about SEO or about conversion or whatever, Google likes that. But if Google thinks that you and I have this thing in place where we're doing these link trading and stuff, and the links are yucky and they're not really high relevant, or they just appear to be suspicious, you can get in pretty big trouble. So thanks for the question, but that's what the Google Penguin algorithm is all about. And what we're talking about today is all on-page optimization. I am not a big believer in working really hard to get a lot of backlinks because it's super difficult to get valid backlinks. So we look at organic SEO practices that actually do have a good effect, that can work and not require ongoing maintenance. Okay, Megan, thank you for the question. So back to number 4 here, which is our imagery, right? Here's another image. That's from one of my blog posts where I do Google My Business tips, okay? And what I want to show you guys here is the original name for this particular image was 12386.jpg. Meaningless. Means nothing to Google, means nothing to the human eye, right? Let's say somebody has a visual impairment or some kind of disability where when they hover over an image, there's either a pop-up, right, of what the image is, or their computer talks to them and says what the image is. In this case, 12386.jpg means nothing to anybody, right? But if I change the image name to Google My Business Listing Tip 1.jpg, now it's got some meaning. Google's got some keywords to work with, and the actual person who's reading that or identifying what this blog post image says, it makes sense to them too. Okay, so you'll see the bottom line here is the image name. Google My Business Listing Tip 1.jpg. Notice the hierarchy. Notice the structure of how we name that image. We use dashes in between each word, and we initial cap each word. The initial cap is all for the human eye. It just makes it easier to read. Okay. The dash is a way of separating the words without having any kind of a negative consequence with Google. Okay. Some people who don't know to use dashes, they put spaces, they put underscores. And what that does is it adds little bits of dirty code to your image name. We want to avoid that, right? So when you name your images, do it just like you see here. Okay. Above that is your alt image name or your ultimate alternate image name. Say that 3 times fast. And it's the same, right? We don't have to really change it up much. We can if we want to, but what we do need to do is take out the dashes and put in spaces. The alt image name is a lot like an incomplete sentence, right? We're just like we're talking to somebody. This is the Google My Business listing tip 1. But again, for the image name, we've got to have those dashes in there. If you don't want to put dashes, you can have no spaces, no underscores, and no dashes. That's okay too, but it doesn't look as pretty. So anyway, that is how your imagery works, and that is a good example of how to optimize an image. If you've got questions about that, let me know. But it's important to see it sometimes, isn't it? It kind of helps you comprehend it. So back to our chart. Now we're on number 5. Number 5 is pretty much everything else you see on the page. It's your body copy. It's your content. And of course, we talked about this earlier, making it rich, relevant, useful content. So we write really good content. We write it for the reader, but we make sure that we implement the keywords that make sense for that particular page. We make sure we implement those keywords into the content. Okay? And we do it in places where it reads well. We don't ever want to put too many of the same keywords on a page or jam it in, or what's commonly referred to as stuffing. Right? So these 2 guys, this is Max and Joss. Max on the left in the Lego shirt, and Joss on the right in the striped shirt. As you might have guessed, they're my kids. And we did a little like 1.5-minute video about this particular topic of stuffing, right? Of jamming keywords into your website content. And it's really bad. This is one of the ways where you can really get dinged or penalized by Google if you do this. We're not going to watch the video now because we're on a webinar, and honestly, the connection just gets weird. But if you want to take a minute and a half and watch it, just go to CuppaSEO.com after the webinar and go to the blog, and then go ahead. You see right here, there's the blog. Go on there, and then when you get to it in this search box, just put stuffing. All right, and this and 1 or 2 other things will come up. You can watch my kids be silly. So stuffing, again, is the overuse of a keyword phrase or keyword, right? And it's kind of like saying, instead of saying here, avoid keyword stuffing on your website and blog. Let's say that was the first sentence for this particular blog post. If I said, avoid keyword stuffing because keyword stuffing is bad, comma, and if you continue to use keyword stuffing, Google may be mad at you for keyword stuffing. So please don't keyword stuff. You get the idea. Just a really poorly constructed sentence, right? Avoid it. All right. As you guys can see from here, there are plenty of places to put your optimized content. Title tag, headlines, subheadlines, imagery. Of course, your body copy is only one of these 6 places. The last spot I want to look at with you guys is down here. It's number 6, and you see this blue content down here. All that is a text link. Okay, that's an on-page link in the form of copy. So we want to make sure we optimize that whenever possible. So in this case, it says, feel free to contact Cuppa SEO to discuss your SEO needs further. Most people in that case would say, feel free to contact us to talk about your needs further. Where's the SEO value in that? Okay, it makes sense to the reader, but Google looks at it and says, okay, and moves on. But as soon as I say, contact Cuppa SEO to discuss your SEO needs, now we've got that keyword in there a couple times. I would actually prefer that to only be in there once, but the name of my company is Cuppa SEO. So it sounded weird when I wrote it to take that out. But that is your text links, okay? And remember earlier on a different subpage, we had an actual button, right? That was a link to something else. And buttons are more and more becoming what most people use. It's just easier to work with. It looks better, especially on mobile. All right. But for now, just know that these are your 6 areas on every web page, And of course, on every single blog post, it's going to be the same criteria here that you want to optimize. Okay? Looks like we've got another question, so let's go ahead and address that before we move forward. We've got a question from Judy. Is there a maximum character recommendation for images? Judy, that is a perfect question, and yes, there is. And this is a recommendation. There is no cold, hard proof that a little bit more than this is going to hurt you. But I've developed a 50 character count over all the years that I've done this for a couple of reasons. One is 50 characters is kind of an average of what you need for that to make sense, for that alt image name or that image name to make sense, right? It's not too long, it's easy to digest, and it looks 0% spammy. All right. Now think about that. 50 characters, including those dashes that we talked about, right? That's your benchmark. Let's say all of a sudden it's 75 or 80, or even worse, 100. Now it's a run-on sentence. There's a very good chance Google will look at that and say, that's spammy. I don't like that. And then you get a penalty. You know, now all of a sudden your website has 250 images on it and they're all 80 characters long, the image names and the alt image names. That could do you in. All the work you put into optimizing those could backfire because you ran too long. So excellent. Thank you for that question. And back to my boys and avoiding keyword stuffing. We're going to move on from that now. And we're going to start to talk about social media. We've talked about keywords and the keyword report and how that's approximately 1/3 of the SEO equation. We talked a little bit about how to create a keyword report, your handbook, your playbook, right? We've also talked about how to implement this into your website and blog. And now we're going to talk about how to implement this into your social media. Okay? So right here, don't worry about reading any of this. It's more here for an aesthetic example. Okay? On your left is a LinkedIn post. Okay? On the right is a Facebook post. This post you see here, I also published exactly the same through my Google+/Google My Business page. Okay? To publicize it there. And of course, get that SEO value from my social media efforts, right? The reason why I show this to you guys is to break down the hierarchy of what a good, well-optimized social media post looks like. So up at the top here on the left, it says my name. It's got some information about me on LinkedIn. Of course, that's optimized, right? You guys can see some really good optimization going on in there. But below that, we've got our copy for this particular post. Online Marketing Demystified. That's my headline, and that's why it's on a line by itself, right? And I return to the next line to put my copy. So it's easy for someone to digest that headline right away. The next 2 lines of copy are exactly that. 2 lines that fit within your typical LinkedIn post without having to click the more button, right? Don't you hate that when something runs on for a while and you want to read more and you kind of click on that link to unfold the post? Listen, sometimes that's going to happen, but we want to avoid that as much as possible. Why do we want to do that? And you can see right at the top of the page, we want to avoid that because we want to give good user experience to the person that sees this particular post. So again, we've got our headline as short as possible. Same on both sides. See, same for Facebook. Couple lines of copy and a link back to our website. We want to link somebody back to us, right? That's kind of completing the circle. Social media is meant to link people to our website, to our blog, to engage further with us. A side note is that our website and our blog is not a means to move people to our social media, and this is a big misconception. by many businesses. They highlight prominently their social media links. Hey, go check out my Facebook page. Hey, go check out my LinkedIn page. And that's a mistake. And it's a mistake because once you have somebody on your website, you want to keep them there. You don't want to send them away. All right. So just remember that side note. Social media is meant to bring people to your website. Once they're there, don't push them to your social media. All right. Anyway, so we've got our headline, we've got our copy, we've got our link back to our website or our blog, and then we've got a nice image. I like to do text images or graphic images, and those of you who follow my blog know that I like to keep it really minimalist and kind of colorful. So here we've got a holistic approach to online marketing. This is one of our webinars that I mentioned earlier, and this was publicizing that webinar. So this is the structure of what a good, well-optimized post looks like. And of course, this image that says a holistic approach to online marketing, that's optimized, right? Just like we talked about earlier. Every single image, anywhere I put it on my blog, on my website, or my social media channels, I optimize it. So moving on to Facebook. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to enter them into the chat. Our Facebook page, just like our Facebook posts, has opportunity to be optimized. So what we're looking at from the top of the page here, you guys see the big coffee cup that says SEO in it. We actually took that picture downtown in Madison at a local coffee shop called Bradbury's. They make great coffee and even better crepes. So we took that picture and just wonderful. So anyway, that picture is obviously optimized. The picture of me over here sipping coffee. You can see here some code is coming up. Okay, so you can't see all of the optimization that went into this picture, but it's there on the back end. It's optimized. Okay, so we optimize this image. We optimize this image. Or this, what's popping up here, if you guys can see this, this might be what's popping up for the entire page, right? Because this is just a screenshot. If I click on this, it'll link to Facebook. But it's not giving me the particular details for this or this. See how it's not changing? So again, optimizing the big image, optimizing the small image. And then over here, we've got a little tagline about Cuppa SEO. We do web design, marketing consultant, copywriting service. Facebook won't let me say SEO. That's why it's not there. They've got a drop down, just like LinkedIn does, just like Google My Business does, a drop down of industries and business types. You got to pick what suits you best. Okay. You see here, I picked 3. Web design, which of course we do, marketing consultant, and copywriting. Those were the best 3 options I could find. So hopefully one day Facebook will give us SEO as well. So that's a top area where you can optimize, okay? There are also some other areas that are out of view here on the sidebar where you can put a one-liner about your business. You can put a longer definition of what you do, what your services and products are. You put your name, your business address. And again, that's all going to be literally just below the fold here. Okay. We just don't have time to discuss it today. Populate every single region that you can. All right. As accurately as possible across all social media platforms. Okay. Doesn't look like we have any questions about that. So we're going to move on to LinkedIn. Okay. This is my LinkedIn business page. And if you're a business, sole proprietor or not, if you do not have a LinkedIn business page, I strongly suggest that you create one right away. Okay. We don't have time to talk about all the benefits, but it is critical to have a business page, to post on that business page, and also to occasionally sponsor appropriate updates through that page. Okay. then there's a very good chance that there's a Cuppa SEO blog post or two about that. So you can check that on the website. But here you'll see how I've optimized my Cuppa SEO business page on LinkedIn. Got a little copy up front. We've got specialties in here: search engine optimization, copywriting, blogging, SEO, web design. And then I've populated every single bit of information I can here: my industry, my website, my address, and so on. Okay. Same deal as Facebook. Just go into it, create it, and populate as much as you can. On your personal LinkedIn page, do the same. And also populate it with as many videos, images, and screenshots, graphics that you can. Okay. Same deal. Optimize every image that you upload, right? It counts for something. Let's address, looks like we have another question, so let's address that. And we're just about done, guys. We have about 5 minutes left, and we only have a couple of slides, so we did really good as far as time. So let's take a break from looking at the slides for a second and take a look at Judy's question. Judy says, I work predominantly with B2B companies in manufacturing and other industrial sectors who do very little on social media. Any insights on which social media channels these sectors may use most often? Hands down, that's going to be LinkedIn. LinkedIn is your numero uno business-to-business platform. And what's nice about it, and why I was mentioning those sponsored updates, Judy, on your LinkedIn business page, is because you can actually drill down and sponsor an update and choose a particular industry or sector of an industry. You can even choose specific businesses that you want to share that sponsored content with. Okay. So it's really nice way to connect with just who you want to. And it's also a good way to find out how many people in those industries are on LinkedIn, because it'll tell you, you know, this sponsored update is going to go out to 5,000 people or 500,000 people, depending on the contingencies you put, okay, into who the demographic is for that post. All right. So I hope that makes sense, but absolutely LinkedIn is number one. That's where I'd spend my time. Okay. And back to our final couple of slides. Google My Business is next. And unfortunately, we don't have the time to talk about all the areas where you can optimize this. But I've recently been writing posts about this. So you can go to the Cuppa SEO blog and just literally type in Google My Business. You will get an onslaught of good information. And again, we also do a free webinar about Google My Business quarterly. So you can sign up for that as well on my site under the webinars tab. But really quickly, we're going to look at every image you see here gets optimized. Every post we push through Google My Business / Google Plus gets optimized. And there's a whole bunch of stuff here under the About section, the Post section, collections, photos, and so on that can be optimized. There's a lot of good areas that can help you raise the authority of your Google My Business page. So the last couple of minutes, I did want to give you guys a few action steps, right? We've covered a ton, but I want you to have some focus. So, and I will include these in a follow-up email to you guys, so you don't have to worry about writing them down. Assess your website's SEO in the 6 key areas we discussed. Review your content richness and relevance, and give your website and blog an honest grade. Okay, if you don't want to give yourself enough, give yourself a D-. All right, but give it an honest grade so you know honestly where you're at. And then your next step is to create that keyword report or hire someone to create one for you. At the very least, use that common sense keyword report that we talked about. Okay. If you guys are interested in having Cuppa SEO or in talking with Cuppa SEO about creating a keyword report for you or possibly helping you get optimized, you guys can feel free to contact me anytime. But I also have a little special thank you for those who came to today's webinar. All right, and you guys should see on the right-hand side a keyword report link. Okay, and if you click on that, I'll get a special message from you. It's just a couple of regions you have to fill out that you're interested in having a discussion about a keyword report. And because you showed up today, you showed up to learn, some people didn't, I am offering a $50 discount on that keyword report. So it's actually only $550 instead of $600. There's a lot of work that goes into that keyword report, but when you get one, you have got what you need to optimize all your content. And with that, guys, we are out of time. If you can believe it, a whole hour has passed. I'd like to thank you all for attending today's Cuppa SEO webinar. And I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I hope this helps you get optimized. Until next time, be well. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.